many fans you are in the chat.
Hello and welcome back to coverage of the PDGA Euro Tour. This is the third stop, the 2023 Krokhol Open, and we are excited to be bringing you round 2 back 9 FPO lead card coverage, brought to you by MDG Media. I'm Connor Wood, and with me, Elias Luukkonen.
What's up? Nice to be here once again watching disc golf on this beautiful, absolutely beautiful course. As we take a look at the scores through round 2, front 9. Silva Saarinen obviously leading the tournament with 1 stroke over Jenni Karppinen. Sofie just 1 back of that, so really a tight battle. Everybody on this lead card is well in play as we go on the hole 10. Very drastically downhill playing par 3, 105 meters. The distance kind of confusing since it's placed closer to 85 or 80 meters. It's so far downhill. You're throwing almost from OB. OB is actually going left side of the fairway and right side of the fairway the whole way, wrapping around the basket at inside circle around only 6 meters back of the basket. So very tight OB and important to keep your disc flying straight and downwards here.
And Jenni here with a great line, nose down the whole way, but she needs to control the distance, and she does. Sitting it down inbounds. Some good touch there. Sofie looking to match that line and pace.
Looks like a pretty okay angle, although fading out at the end. Unfortunately, OB just by half a meter there. Really showing how tight that OB is on this hole. Silva going standstill, actually.
And finding OB not quite connecting into the fairway. You saw Sofie's shot actually bounce, whereas Jenni's actually slid up to the basket. That slightly less friction, I think, for Sofie's ground play, resulting in that OB. But Rachel there with some fortunate ground play to bring her up and into this green island. We see Silva still considerably downhill.
Yeah, that's still not an easy approach from there, and not a very incredible result there either, leaving herself from circle 2 for the bogey. As we see Rachel laying up under the basket. This is a very flat green, and talking about the greens on this course being very difficult, this is not one of them, although the OB creeps in very close behind the basket.
Hey.
Wow, great save there.
As you said, not an ideal location to be putting for bogey from, but an amazing putt, as she's already shown a few of those here in round 2, showing us why she's battled her way into the solo lead position currently, although things will be looking to shift here, with Jenni quite close and Sofie cashing that one in for par after going OB. Nicely done. We'll see Jenni now.
Yeah, we have
with a chance to snag the solo lead.
Yeah, a big opportunity here, absolutely. And she bangs it in the middle. We have already seen a lot of great putts throughout this round. If you guys haven't seen the front 9, you should certainly check it out. Some good, solid putting and also just solid playing on the front 9. Continuing that on the back 9 here.
The lead card caliber is really improving season in and season out. European disc golf thriving currently. It's an amazing year to be part of it, and you see a great display here at this beautiful course.
Yeah, absolutely, and a lot of younger players. Not many players over their 30s, or especially not in their 40s. As we move on to hole 11, 87 meters, pretty much dead straight. Important to keep your disc from going to the left side woods, and especially not to the right side woods, since the right side is very thick. Basket is up on this a little bit of a flat-topped mount. On the right side of the basket, it's a very steep roll-away potential. So stay a little bit left of the basket and hopefully slide your way up there inside the circle. Very fast green.
Jenni up first, playing the backhand to mitigate that risk to the right. And a really smooth shot. She is right up there outside bullseye. Great touch. And you mentioned the average lowering age of the field of professional players. Some top players in Europe still even in high school.
Yeah, that's a very
As
very
we
common thing, especially amongst Finnish players. So we have a lot of great junior players in Finland. Seeing Rachel throw a good flat shot towards the right side of the fairway, doesn't quite fade back before hitting the right side trees, but stays on the edge. Should be a pretty easy time from there. As Silva is also throwing just a gem to the basket. Perfectly straight, lands it a few meters before, slides up there, just a couple meters long, inside the bullseye, I believe. Incredible touch there.
Absolutely laced by Silva. We saw Sofie there with a long bid up, able to go quite forwards. We see Rachel there considerably uphill on the right side, just laying it up. And Jenni to continue here. Her solo lead position. 2 great birdies to start off this back 9, playing incredibly cleanly so far. Great job by Jenni to keep the momentum.
Yeah.
On a course like this, where it's a considerable hike as well, do you think that momentum and your mentality going into each hole is a significant factor?
Yeah, I feel like talking about the hike, I feel like it's certainly makes it more difficult to concentrate on your shots if you don't take that break after moving on to the next hole. So important to let your heart rate go down, you know, maybe grab a snack between moving on to the next hole, and then you should be good. You know, these are athletes, disc golf athletes here, so no problem with a little bit of a hike. As we move on to hole 12, an absolutely beautiful par 5 hole, 267 meters. Off the tee, you're trying to get as much distance as possible on this very wide fairway, narrowing towards the pond here. And your second or third shot, you're trying to get over this pond, which is considered OB, and land somewhere here in the open, where you have a pretty easy approach to the basket. So a lot about the distance on the first shot, because if you get a long drive, you can go over the pond with your second shot. But if your drive is a little bit shorter, you will likely have to play for par.
Yeah, a really picturesque fairway. Quite generous in its width. You can try to lay one out there and get some distance. We saw Jenni there still holding the box after 2 great birdies. Gets it a little bit more nose down, trying to maintain and mitigate some of that fade, maintain the straight flight. As we see Silva here, a little bit more nose up. Gets some turn, but with a strong finish to the left, she'll be a little bit pinched and with awkward footing at the base of that slope.
Yeah, I believe at least Silva will definitely have to lay up before the pond from there. Jenni, with a very aggressive shot, could go over, but she didn't get a lot of distance, so possibly still having to lay up before. Sofie going with a big turning drive, trying to get all of that glide, and gets pretty good distance, but hits one of the right side trees and kicks to the fairway. So still good position there.
Rachel also playing towards the left side. We did see on a lot of the second shots that weren't quite far enough to comfortably clear the water. They could actually play a hyzer sort of over it, not clearing it straight, but just playing to that dry land on the left side. And Jenni now trying to lay this one up before the green, but comes out also quite low, and she'll have a longer shot than is comfortable now to clear over that pond.
Yeah, I believe definitely not a birdie chance from there, and hopefully going for the par. As we see Sofia with the aggressive, going with a high-speed disc there, trying to turn it over towards the right and clears the pond easily. Faces towards the left side tree line, but she will have some sort of a look from there, only about 60 meters left of the baskets.
And Silva laying up just beforehand as well. You saw the awkward footing. No real walk up for her on a shot that requires considerable distance, so she opts to lay up smartly. We see Rachel's distance here as she bombs one all the way to the green. She is in circle 2, but absolutely looking at a putt. A nice shot there from Rachel.
Yeah, that was absolute massive shot there. Really utilizing that distance of hers. As we unfortunately see Jenni making the first big mistake of this round, going OB in the pond, possibly losing the disc plus going OB, so that's a double penalty there. Silva going over, hitting the right side trees, staying on the edge. Should be okay there.
And Jenni going for the standstill. This looks like a solid correction. Turning that one over, she's going to glide right up to the basket and in fact go slightly past it. She's putting uphill though. Should be a reasonable putt. Although I believe it's for a bogey save.
Yeah.
Sofie here from the left side.
This is another
playing the backhand approach.
Another green with a slight slope both on the right side and long and even on the left side of the basket. So as you can see, the slope beautifully from this shot. Silva just laying up under the basket, but some putts, especially if you're short and left, can be quite tricky. As we see Rachel here, hopefully controlling the speed of the putt. Going a little bit past, and you can already see finding that slope on the long side of the green. Rolling a little bit away there.
And Jenni looking to save that one. Just tickles left side. And falls out. At least she has remained within bullseye. Should be a tap in and a great birdie putt from Sofie there to put her round to 4 under. Connecting and translating now here on the back 9. That's the game we often see from her. This is Rachel now with the comebacker.
Unfortunately, once again going off the slope and really having some putting struggles here with the sloped green. Hopefully can make this one and just barely bounces out. This green really showing the teeth that it might have if you're missing those putts left or right. Jenni there with the double bogey. Really unfortunate blemish to this almost perfect round from her. Having to drop 2 strokes from that great 6 under round that she was having.
And we saw Rachel there only taking a single bogey with a 4 putt. Her first putt was actually for eagle and then not quite able to finish it out, but still some tremendous throwing there on hole 12.
Yeah, as we move on to hole 13, another gap to hit off the tee, as we saw some of those on the front 9. 86 meters, finishing slightly uphill, so you can throw your disc pretty much as hard as you want to, as long as you hit this hillside on the front of the basket. Not the tightest gap ever, but certainly something to mess with your head a little bit. You want to throw something pretty straight and control the disc and keep it straight till the end of the flight. It's very common that people either turn over too much or fade out on this hole.
Solid shot by Sofie, turning it over through the gap, digs it into the hillside as you mentioned. A lot of players opting to disc up for that reason. You can really rely on hitting it.
Silva there.
And a nice
going
flight,
mid-range.
Yeah.
And pretty much parked. Perfect angle control and lands it right next to the basket. That's great.
And it's worth mentioning with Jenni's double bogey on 12, Silva is now currently taking the lead once again. We see Rachel there pumping her drive out into the fairway. She'll be short on the left side, looking uphill. And Jenni here to hopefully bounce back after a tricky 12 and look at that. Thrown to perfection, I think also parked.
Yeah, absolute perfect line there. This is a good set of 4 drives on this hole. It's one of the holes you would like to at least have a putt on, as all of these players do, but certainly no gimme. As Sofie, you can see the uphill slope from here. It's quite steep, a little bit steeper than even the camera shows. As Jenni gets great putt in the middle of the basket. Important bounce back after that disappointing double bogey on the previous hole.
Well, hey, she's already found 3 birdies here on the back 9, so wiping that one out clean. Still sitting 1 under in the back 9 alone. And a tap-in birdie for Silva there. Nicely done. Sofie and Rachel will be taking the pars.
Yeah, good grouping there, having 2 birdies and 2 pars on that hole.
Latitude 64's boys down here, just finished checking out the your app and everything is A-okay.
Hey, Jonathan, catch. Huh?
Warning, low oxygen. Warning, low oxygen. Jonathan, we're getting an anomalous critical failure on your suit. Could you please confirm status?
Sorry, man.
Warning, low oxygen.
Moving on to hole 14, one of the more treacherous yet beautiful holes on the course. Early gap there to hit. You have to hit that tight-ish gap, not the tightest gap in the world. After that, you want to fly straight towards the basket if you're going for the birdie. Land your disc flat and hopefully just slide up to the basket. It's another basket that is perched up on this mount. If you go at all long or left of the basket, you're likely to be rolling down towards the water. That's considered OB. Also a good play here to turn it slightly over to the right, as we see Silva doing. That's the safe shot, and although it is leaving a very scary putt, it's an easy par from there, and there are many worse scores than pars found on this hole.
Absolutely. You see Jenni now also erring to the side of caution, and an unfortunate kick off the tree sends her down the hill and splash town. She is OB left. Tough break on what was a safe line that she looked to have fairly well executed.
Yeah, those trees are an absolute disc launcher. Every time you hit those trees, I feel like you end up in the water, as we say. Sofie just avoiding them, and Rachel with a very errant looking release there, releasing the disc on hyzer, and I believe she did not cross safe almost any time during the fairway, as she does throw from the other side of the pond. That's a disaster on this hole. Having to go with a 80-meter forehand there, still leaving it short, and pretty much no putt from there since it's such a scary putt to run.
And yeah, a lot of these throws too far away from the green to really give an honest bid at, so we're likely to see some upshots. But even this is not easy. You want to put it as close as possible without pushing it along at all. That is ideal. Really nice from Sofie. A very subtly complex green here. Decision making and execution, very important.
Yeah, Rachel there also approaching to the green. A little bit scary with that hyzer angle coming down to the ground. Not quite the ideal angle. As we said, really important on this course, on a lot of these greens, to land as flat as possible to remove that chance of a roll away. As we see Rachel getting that double bogey 5. That can happen easily on this hole, yet you would like to get the par, obviously. Never fun to get those bogeys. So two pars, bogey from Jenni and double from Rachel there. As we move on to a slightly easier water carry hole, hole 15. Playing longer as 106 meters compared to the 96 on the last one, but slightly downhill, so actually probably playing exactly the same distance or a little bit shorter. You want to move slightly to the right at the end of the flight, missing the 2 birch trees on the fairway from the left side. Hopefully settle with a flat landing on this, once again, very scary green. On the right side of the basket there's a big drop-off, as usual on this course.
Silva shaping a beautiful shot. We see the full turn, the full fade, and that is underneath the pin. You cannot throw it better than that. That is textbook from Silva Saarinen, your leader currently.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. Going with the slow speed mid-range there. Really able to produce that flat landing. Not any rollaways there. As Sofie does actually a similar flat landing with a faster disc. Very impressive angle control there. But landing a little bit short left, gonna be a very scary putt to the basket from there.
And Jenni playing with a little bit more understability, goes left side release and holds the turn the entire flight. She battles just to the top edge of that hill, it looked like. And Rachel going to push out her signature forehand here. What she'll need to watch out for is ensuring that she doesn't get too much of a rightwards finish at the end. Oh, and it looks so good, although catching an edge on that slope. We'll see just how much she is left with. It could be very close or very far. But with Jenni up first, she can't be too far. She fires just a little bit high, catching the flag.
Yeah, there's some thick...
And Sofie now.
Sofia just missing it, but yes, as I was saying, there's some thick grass on the right side of the basket, as you can see here, so the forehands usually settle, even if they're going slightly down the hill, as Rachel unfortunately missing from short distance there. That really stings after that double bogey, having a chance to remove half of that pain with the birdie, but unfortunately having to take the par there. And Silva still waiting to get to her disc there. Absolutely parked. Getting a lot of strokes on this card. Actually does.
Do you think the pain of one bogey is equally proportional to the satisfaction of one birdie? Do they directly translate?
I think so, especially on this sort of course that really plays close to par for even these top players. As we move on to hole 16. Beautiful par 5 hole of 231 meters. Off the drive you're going uphill, trying to get decent bit of distance. Second shot you're going flat over the slight ridge on the fairway. Again trying to get as much distance, but with staying inside the tightening OB lines. And on the approach, really important to keep your disc once again flat coming into the green and also slightly right off the basket, since there's a huge drop off on the left side and also OB if you're all down there.
We see Silva playing to that left side, getting the common ground play, and settles nicely. Good progress up the fairway and in quite a good spot.
Yeah, good distance there, and fortunately gets that roll off from the rocks. Would have been very awkward footing if she had stayed up there. Sofie had just the perfect shot in the middle of the fairway. From there it's just another layup. You can either go more aggressive and hopefully remove some distance from that approach, or go very safe and leave a longer approach. Jenni rolling towards the OB on the right side, fortunately just stays safe. You can really see some of these players are hesitant to turn their drive over and rather fading towards the left side, which is the safer option, so very smart play, knowing their misses on this relatively simple par 5 hole. You want to just stay in the fairway throughout the whole duration of the hole.
Oh, and a scary layup there for Jenni, playing over the OB the whole way. She keeps it safe back in bounds. You see them trying to match the grade of the slope, as you mentioned, ensuring that they don't get any unintended consequences to their throws. You see Rachel go forehand, and this thing is trucking down the hill, catches the edge and stands up.
Wow,
great progress.
Just in bounds there. Scary with the forehand high-speed shot, really challenging that roll-away potential. As Silva is going with the slower disc mid-range, that's the tightest part of the fairway, just stay safe there. Should have a pretty short approach from there, so good progress with the first two shots. As Jenni is throwing a standstill shot, slightly fading to the left, unfortunately. Not a look for birdie, I don't believe, but should be a pretty simple par from there.
And yeah, not too bad of a shot there either. A little bit low into the earth. Didn't quite get the full ground play towards the basket, but no problems there. Silva from that left side, shaping the backhand approach. She has shown a great competence so far, and she's done it again there, putting herself to just about 5 meters out. Rachel going forehand on hole 16. And she brings it up just a little bit short as well. And she's had some struggles on the putting greens. This back nine has been not so forgiving to her, as we'll see her hopefully translate that one. And some short upshots now from the field. Yeah. Not to take too much risk on this tough green.
Yeah, Rachel with a scary angle. If she misses the basket, certainly fading towards the OB on the left. Goes down the hill, I believe stays safe there, but a long comeback putt here. You can see the steep uphill slope there going over the basket. Silva also with an incredibly scary putt here. For most people, not for her clearly, since, as we said, one of the most consistent putters in the whole Europe.
And it's such an incredible tool to have a really strong circle one putt on some of these greens where that 5 to 7 meter range can be really a scary putt for most. If you're incredibly confident in that 5 to 10 range, it can go a long way here in Krokhol, as we see 1 bogey, 1 birdie, and 2 pars on 16.
Moving on to hole 17, another just beautiful hole. This time a par 3, 115 meters. So much downhill that it's playing closer to 95. You want to hang something pretty stable out to the right side of the basket and hopefully fade left back in bounds. It's an island hole and lined with OB. Left side you can see the stakes and right side the small river is forming the OB line. So you want to stay inside the island. If you miss the island off the tee, you're going to drop zone that is not an easy shot, about 70 meters away from the basket. So really important to keep your disc low enough going forward, and also don't turn or fade too much as you want to stay inside of this island. Left side is a bit safer, so as many players, and Silva as well, trying to fade towards that left side.
Although I think she is very close to OB. Yeah, you see the spotter check that one, but she gets the green flag. Likely a 3 at worst. We'll see Sofie now. Trying to make the correction. She's turned this one over. She'll want to see this fade, but battling outside to the right, she will find herself out of bounds. A little bit too much understability there with a hyzer release.
Yeah, it's really scary to see your disc turning to the right here, as you would like to see that left finish. Jenni is doing a similar mistake. Can she fade to the left? Unfortunately not. You can really see how quickly that OB on the right side comes into play. It's only about 4 or 3 meters on the right side of the basket. Rachel with a very low shot there. Looks like she actually came up short of the island, which is a rare miss on this hole, but just a very nose down low release there.
As we have Sofie up first. Really nice correction to the stability there, ensuring she gets a finish outwards to the left despite a flat and hard release. Nice use of the low speed disc. Jenni shaping a hyzer the whole way there. But this is coming in fast and on a steep angle. That will still leave her with quite a putt.
Yeah, even from the drop zone, just 70 meters away, it's common that players are a little bit scared of the right side OB, and for good reason, as we said, only a couple meters from the basket. Rachel going with something wider and more stable, and that's a good play there. Controlling the distance just perfectly. And looks like Silva, even though she's faded out far from the basket, getting a stroke on, at least one stroke on everybody on the card.
As the leader, I'm sure it's for her. She might not enjoy seeing her card mates find their struggles, but she can breathe a little bit and take a sigh of relief, knowing that she's effectively secured her position for lead card in day 3. We see there putt from Sofie, as well as the other 2 now for their bogeys from the drop zone.
Yeah, I'm sure all of these players would like to be on the lead card for the final round. I believe all 3, besides Rachel, have a good chance. Rachel having a bit of a tougher back 9 here, but still 1 hole to hopefully fix that and maybe get that birdie on the final hole 18.
Yeah, let's see if we can end it out strong here. End of round 2.
Although it is not going to be easy, because hole 18 is a difficult one. Par 4, 150 meters. Not difficult with distance, as it only requires, if you split the fairway into 2, just 75 meter shots. Off the drive you would like to get much more though, hopefully closer to that 100 to maybe even more if possible. It's an island green, so once you get to the end of this inbounds area on the fairway, you have to hit the island and stay inside of the rocks if you want to continue playing from there. If you miss the island, you have to play from the fairway side of the OB. So off the tee you want to get a lot of distance, turning slightly to the right, and with the approach just needs perfect precision and accuracy.
Really great drive from Silva there. Positions herself nice and safe, but a ton of distance. Looking to be about 100 to 110. I think she has about 40 to 50 into the green. Nicely done. We see Sofie here also turning that one over. Not quite as much finish and forwards push at the end, but still well positioned. It's an interesting decision to put an island green on 18. It's quite common you see, especially in the European courses, an island on hole 1, a green to stick. And it really is quite complimentary as well to have an island here in Krokhol on 18 to land on, testing your nerves and composure at the end of what's often a long round.
Yeah, certainly, and I believe it's a good design because this hole definitely creates a lot of scoring separation, especially from some of these little bit shorter drives. As you can see, Jenni is actually just half throwing / jump putting towards the edge of the fairway, hopefully making that third shot to the island much easier. Sofie actually going for it here. You can see the 50-meter stake in front of her, so about 65 to the basket. Just barely hits the rocks there on the right side. She will have to continue with her fourth shot from the edge of the fairway.
Rachel really relying on her forehand here, a great tool that she has, and she digs inside the island but skips over the wall. We also saw that in the previous round from some of our feature card competitors. That wall it is really not very tall, so you do need to settle nice and soft and assume it's more like a line than a wall, as we see a great shot there from Silva.
Yeah, Silva actually having such a long, massively long drive that she was able to just jump at her approach. So huge showcase of that throwing arm that she got, and making this hole look easy, as we saw Jenni just laying up next to the basket there. Good approach. Good approach also from Rachel. Even these jump putts are not that incredibly easy, I can tell from personal experience. It's very easy to mess this up with once again a sloped green. But everybody inside the island now. Rachel makes it for the bogey. Just one errant shot on the hole, causing the bogey finish. Not the round she was looking for, but she lives to fight another day.
Jenni tapping in her par. She has had a roller coaster of a round, some struggles as well as some amazing throws and putts, but you see there Silva Saarinen with the tap-in birdie, completing her round of 6 under, catapulting her lead into an even greater one, sitting at 9 under par at the end of round 2. An incredible performance by her, and a really exciting round on moving day.
Yeah, incredible round from Silva, and almost kind of stealing the show from Jenni, who was, I believe, 6 under after 11 holes. And with a bit of a unfortunate finish there, Silva has that big lead, 7 strokes over Sofie and Jenni. And filling out the lead card, Ingvild Lönnvik.
Yeah, make sure to join us for the exciting conclusion in round 3 of the 2023 Krokhol Open. We appreciate you joining us here today. You can like, comment, and subscribe to support this coverage, and we'll see you there.